WGSN-DB Going Solo Network welcomes you to You Can Find Love After 50 with your host, dating coach Lisa Copeland. Lisa's best-selling book on Amazon, The Winning Dating Formula for Women Over 50, has helped women all over the globe find love. Her weekly column in the Huffington Post, which is viewed by millions of readers, along with her unique insight into how to find a quality man, makes her the #1 dating coach for women over 50. And now, your host, Lisa Copeland.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Copeland, and I'm the host of the You Can Find Love After 50 show on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I want to welcome you to today's show, and I thought I'd share with you today some of my craziest dating stories in both my 40s and 50s. More importantly, I want to show you that how every time you go out, you can learn something new, not only about yourself, but about the men that you want to date. One of the most interesting things about looking for a relationship or being in a relationship is that relationships, even though we think they're about finding love, and they are, they're also about a lot of self-growth. They say that building a business and being in a relationship are two of the biggest ways that you can grow. So that's why today I thought I would share some really funny things with you that happen. And I know that you have some funny things that have happened to you as well. I'd love to hear them sometime. You can always write about them to me at lisa@findaqualityman.com. While you're over on my website, at findaqualityman.com, there is a tab that drops down for Dear Lisa, or you can just write me at that email address I just gave you. While you're there, I would love for you to take a look at Never Be Alone Again After 50. It's a 7-day challenge I created. For 7 days, you'll get a different short video, like 3 minutes, because I can only do so much video myself in terms of watching, and I think everything needs to be short and sweet. So you're going to get 7 great tips. Go to findaqualityman.com, go to the bottom, and you'll see the way to sign up for that. Women have written me and told me it's made such a difference in their lives, and I wanted to make a difference in yours too. So make sure you head over to findaqualityman.com and join the Never Be Alone Again After 50 7-day challenge at the bottom. Okay, let's get to some of these stories and let's see about how you can grow from the men that you meet and what you can learn. I think one of my craziest dates was with a man who was great on the phone. He was interesting, he was funny, smart, intelligent, just an awesome man. And then we agreed to meet at a Barnes & Noble that had a coffee shop in it. I get there and I'm looking around and I'm looking for that picture of that man that I saw on the dating site. Ever done that before? You want to get a man's cell phone number. So when this happens, you can call and watch for the guy that picks up his phone. Well, turns out this guy was a minute or two late, but he was just walking in, and I see this guy about 300 pounds come through the door. He has his phone up to his ear and a brown bag in his hand. I'm thinking, what? And he comes up to me and I give him a hug because I always thought that was the nice thing to do. And he says, my dog has fleas. And I'm thinking, cooties, get away, I have a dog. Oh my God. I was like so freaked out. I decided right then and there I needed to figure out an exit strategy. Now, a lot of times we stay on dates even though we're bored to tears or we know this guy isn't good for us, and we still stay there because we don't want to hurt some guy's feelings. Well, from that day on, I decided I was never going to stay on a date again with somebody that was deceptive like that. He should have told me that he doesn't look like his picture, or he should have posted a picture of how he really looked. In the past, I would have stayed. This time I said to him, well, I'd love to get a cup of tea with you, but I have to leave because I ended up having to schedule a meeting. Or you can say a friend of mine really needed me and I need to leave in about 20 minutes. I'm so sorry. So this guy and I, we sit down and he starts sharing with me how he has a CPAP machine, how he gained like 200 pounds because he had some illness, how he was on steroids and that's why he had gained so much weight, but he had started losing weight. Yes, he had, because have you ever had the plumber that came and bent over and you saw his crack? Oh my, that's how this was too. This guy's pants were falling off of him. I ended up writing a Huffington Post article about first dates for men, what never to do. And you can actually go look that up. Just look up Lisa Copeland and turnoffs for women about men. I had 700 comments. It led to another article, what women shouldn't do on a first date. But the real thing for you to know is you do not have to stay on a first date with someone like this who is deceptive and who is just sharing with you doom and gloom. Get up. You can do so many things to get out of there. I teach clients this all the time. You can always spill a glass of water and just say, oh my God, I'm sorry, I have to go. This is like freezing, whether the air conditioning's on or whether it's cold outside. And you get out of there. When you stay to please a guy because you don't want to hurt his feelings, you hurt yourself. And that was one of the biggest takeaways I learned on that date. And I never again stayed to honor someone else besides me. Now you might say, is that selfish, Lisa? No. You don't know this person. You always want to be kind. Always. I do believe in this philosophy of paying it forward in dating. I feel that so many people have been hurt in dating because people have been mean to them or nasty to them. And what happens is they come into the dating, into their next date, and they're kind of nasty because of what's happened to them. So be kind, but always honor yourself first. Okay, so let's talk about another crazy date I had that I learned a lot about myself from. I went on a date with a guy. It was a third date, maybe a fourth date, because on the third date, he invited me to a party. And he actually had quite a few drinks, and he seemed okay. So I let him drive me home because I didn't want to say, hey, I really think I should call my daughter. Today you can call Uber, but back then you couldn't. Or I think I should call a friend. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and I thought, oh, we're 2 miles from home. Well, my daughter had a fit. She was 16 at the time, and she was being more responsible than I was, and she was more concerned than I had been. And that was a big mistake. And that was another time of not honoring myself because I didn't want to hurt a guy's feelings. So our fourth date, we went out and we came back to my house and he took his shoes off and we went downstairs to a family room I had in a lower level because my daughter and her friends were on the first level in that family room. And I hear them laughing, and next thing I know, my dog has eaten this guy's shoes. And my daughter let him because she was mad at him for putting my life in jeopardy. So again, what I learned was we do need to honor ourselves. This guy had had too many drinks. What was I doing getting in a car with him? Always know that you are only hurting yourself. If we had been in an accident, I could have had my life in jeopardy. God only knows. And I had minor children at the time. That was not smart, and it was all because I didn't want to hurt some guy's feelings. No, hurt them. Say to them, I'm sorry, I feel uncomfortable getting in the car with you at this point because I feel you've had a little too much to drink, and I'm going to get a ride home, or I'm going to call an Uber. Never be afraid to do this. I think the other reason I was afraid to say something was I liked that I was in a relationship or getting into a relationship with someone, and I hadn't been in one. It was the first one I was going to be in since my 24-year marriage had ended, and I really did not know what I was doing. I was placating so that I could stay in this relationship that really didn't exist and was with someone I never should have been with. Honor yourself, always. I went on a date with a guy. He had this very strong Brooklyn accent, which kind of turned me off. When I hear voices, I love the sound of voices. The funny thing is much later on when I did get involved with him, I did come to like his voice. So be really careful. If a guy is nice, you do want to give him a chance. But what you don't want to do is what I did. So this guy was really nice. We meet on the first date and he brings me 12 beautiful white roses. Maybe 11 roses and one red rose or something. And the roses had some kind of significance. It was so nice. He was really sweet to do this. And I'm looking at this guy. He looks a little vagabondy. He's like a nomad. He loves going on these car trips and sleeping in his van. Now, let me tell you, I like nice things. But this guy, so I thought, this guy and I are not really a match. He will go camping, and my idea of camping is the Holiday Inn. I'm just kidding, but you get the idea. Well, I'm thinking there's no way this guy is a fit for me. We lead two totally different lifestyles. And he had this feeling that I really wasn't too interested. And so we ended up going to leave, and I give him a hug. I don't know what possessed me to give him a hug. So he said, "Can I call you and ask you out again?" And because, again, I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings, I said, "Sure." We went out again, and the coolest thing happened. He started looking at me like I was a movie star or something. He had such gaga eyes for me, and I'd never had someone look at me this way. And it was intoxicating. And I can remember my mother saying to me, "Wow, this guy looks at you like you are the best thing ever. It is so sweet." And it was sweet. But we weren't a match. And the entire 2.5 years, we fought and got back together, and fought and get back together. What we had was called an oxytocin addiction to each other. It happens with women when we get addicted to men. Men can have it too, but we really can have it. What happens is when we have sex with a man, we bond with him. The hormone oxytocin is released, and we can stay bonded with a man up to 3 weeks. Now, when a man has sex with you, that oxytocin is released for maybe 2 hours. He can go and have sex the next night with someone else. When you have an oxytocin addiction to someone, it's very hard to be away from them. It's like a high when you think of their name. It gets you all jazzed up. It's like a high when you look at their photograph on your phone. And today, if you text, back then, we didn't have the types of smartphones we have today. We were not texting. It was all done by phone and email. And it makes you feel really good because it's a chemical release that's happening when you think about them. So when we would break up, we would miss each other so much because of the oxytocin high that happened when we came together. It's very hard when you break up with someone who you have this with. What you have to do is you have to cut off all contact. You have to take pictures out of your phone of this person, delete their emails, take their phone number off your phone, get off of social media with them. Back then we didn't have all that, so it was a little bit easier. If you're stalking them in any way on social media, you're going to make that breakup more difficult for yourself because you're just re-releasing the oxytocin, which is continuing to keep you addicted. It probably took me about 6 months to get over this guy. I've had clients come to me with this same situation. And exactly what I just told you is what I tell them. Break off all contact. When you think of this person, you need to very quickly shift your mind to something else. Say, thank you for coming into my mind, but I choose to think about something different. That's how you will break that oxytocin addiction to someone. You want to learn more about that? I do talk about it in my book, The Winning Dating Formula for Women Over 50, and you can get a copy of that book over at Amazon. It's The Winning Dating Formula for Women Over 50 by Lisa Copeland. I love that book, and I have women tell me all the time what a difference it makes in their lives. I wrote it to inspire and to motivate women and to show them the issues that might come up with them, for them in their lives. And I've had women say to me, that book is like a dating Bible for me. And it makes me so happy knowing I've helped someone and made their life a little easier when it comes to dating.
Hello, everybody. This is Madam Coach Correa, Love and Pillow Talk, WGSN-DB radio show. Join me every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and learn about love relationships and how they relate to your soulmate.
I want to remind you that you're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. I'm Lisa Copeland, the host of the You Can Find Love After 50 show. And today we're talking about some of my craziest dates, what I learned from them about myself, and what you can learn from my dates about you. Always go back when you've been on a bad date or a crazy date and think about, what did I learn from this? Did it show me something about the men I want or don't want in my lives? It's very powerful to do this because it helps you get even more clarity on who you want. A guy came into my life named Max. We had some really nice phone calls. He was feeling like he had met the one with me. And I was feeling a little uncomfortable about that because to me, that was like, wow, we haven't even met. You don't really know who I am, and you think I'm the one already. But I kept talking to him, and I actually kind of checked him out because it turns out we went to the same chiropractor's office, and the chiropractor was a friend of mine. So I said, can you just check him out and let me know what the girls think? And then I actually knew someone else we knew in common, and I asked her about him. And he loved to name drop. I'm not a name dropper. It doesn't impress me. I'll usually say, I don't know who you're talking about, because I usually don't. It doesn't mean anything to me. But he was a name dropper, and sure enough, a lot of confirmation came in about the things that were bothering me, that he liked to act like he was really macho. He would pull out wads of money to pay. He was always name dropping, same thing. But I actually did think he was interesting, and he was so nice on the phone, so I decided to give him a chance, and I went on a date with him. He asked me to go to Fleming's. If you have a Fleming's near you, it's a pretty expensive steakhouse. And this was our first date, okay? And I meet him there, and of course we hug each other, and we have this lovely table. It was actually New Year's Day that we went, and the restaurant was kind of empty. But there was a couple behind us as well. And he and I start talking, and then the couple behind us somehow gets engaged with us, and we sort of have fun with them. And it's almost like we're a couple already, and we're enjoying them and enjoying each other. And the dinner is amazing. He says, what would you like? You can have anything you want. And it was really a lot of fun. The name dropping kept happening, but it was really, really a lot of fun. And then at the end of the date, he says to me, I think we should become exclusive. And I looked at him and I'm like in shock. I mean, my eyes were probably so open and my mouth probably dropped open. I said, I can't do that. And at the time, I did not know how to let a man down correctly. It's not that I wouldn't have been exclusive with him at some point. It's that I needed a second date. I wasn't ready after this first date to be exclusive with someone just because he bought me this amazing dinner and I had fun. And I did have a great time with him. Now, in today's world, knowing what I know, I would have said to him, "Thank you so much for asking me to be exclusive. I feel so honored. But I have a favor to ask of you. Would it be possible for us to get to know each other better before we are able to become exclusive? I really feel I need to get to know you better. Would that be okay?" A man would have stepped up to be my hero. He may have not liked it, but he probably would have said sure. Instead, this man was hurt. He put himself on the line, and I basically said to him no. And I liked him. I had a really nice time with him. I did. I just didn't know that I was ready to be exclusive with someone after one dinner. And as those last few minutes of our date progressed, the silence was deafening. And he didn't even hug me goodbye. He went to his truck. I went to my car. I think he walked me about halfway. And looking back, I can see he was just hurt. It's why it's so important to understand the language that men speak and hear. I have clients tell me they have gotten in really great relationships as a result of understanding men. I teach this to clients all the time. It's one of my favorite things to teach because I swear to God, it's like magic. When you understand this language and men feel understood, they do everything possible for you they can. And had I understood that language back then, I think this man would have understood. As it turns out, he really wasn't meant to be for me because I'm in the best relationship ever. And I'm not so sure that would have been. But it was fun. And it was sad, though, because later on, about a year later, I saw he was still online. And I wrote to him and I said, "I had the nicest date with you. If you had asked me for a second date, I would have gone out for sure. And then I would have decided whether or not to be exclusive." Again, not knowing what I was doing, I did not write that correctly. I should have written, "Hey, I saw you online." It made me think about our date. I had so much fun. If you'd asked me that night for a second date, I would have for sure gone out with you. Hope life is great, Lisa. The reason I should have written it that way is because that was light, it was fun, it was flirty. The way I wrote it probably made him feel like I accused him of doing something wrong, which he didn't. He was just putting his heart on the table in the moment. And he wrote me back a really nasty letter about what a bitch I was. And I look at it and I go, really? A lot of times, ladies, we do not realize how we come across bitchy, mean. And I remember men saying, "Oh my God, that was so mean." And I'm thinking, what are they talking about? I was so direct that it just backed him up against a wall. And he felt there were no options, or I made him wrong without intending to make him wrong. I was actually trying to make it light without being able to do that. By the way, if you do want to learn more about men, reach out to me, read my blogs, get that book. I write about men all the time because I do love men. I always have. And now that I really understand who they are after 50, they want to be your hero. And when we let them be our hero, there is something so awesome and amazing about it. They are so there for you. By the way, that guy is still on online dating sites. I still see him there. And sometimes men want a relationship really badly, and they just move too fast, and it's very scary to us. Same with you. If you come across as needy or desperate for having a relationship, a man will back away the same way I backed away from this man. You want to go on dates and play it really cool. It's why I always say just go on a date to meet someone new and interesting. And ask fun questions. Don't ask questions like, what do you do? Ask, what do you love about what you do? Don't ask questions about, what is your favorite sports team? Say something like, I'm so bad at sports. And I've always wondered why this happened in sports. You do need to know something that happened. and then say, can you share with me what that's about? Men love helping you. Anytime you can trigger that help factor, you got them. Okay, one last date I'm going to share with you. So I'm supposed to meet a man again at Barnes & Noble. I think there's something about that spot that just was not good for me. And this man had a picture online when he contacted me, and he looked really cute. And I said to him, is this really what you look like? Again, not knowing what I was doing. And these are all stories from before I became a dating coach. And he says, yeah, I pretty much look like that still. A better way to write that would have been, hey, this is a really cute picture of you. When's it from? Or you don't want to be accusing and go, hey, this is a cute picture of you. Is it current? Because that sets a man off already. Use that words, when's it from? So he'll be able to answer freely. So I walk into Barnes & Noble, and I don't see anyone that looks like that picture once again. And again, I make the call, and the guy is literally standing 5 feet from me. He picks up his phone, and I can see him talking and hear him at the same time. And I'm thinking, oh, this is not the same guy that was in the picture. Of course not. It was a picture from when he was about 25. For a while there, I was attracting men like this who would put a picture up that wasn't exactly how they looked. And I would sit there and I'd stay on the date and I'd listen to them. I also used to do this before I knew what I was doing, where a guy would call at night and he would talk about his day, and I would just let him talk because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. And we became great phone pals, but he never asked me out. This not honoring ourselves is really huge. I suggest when people are deceptive about who they are, they might be deceptive about other things too. And it's really worth leaving. You can say, I only have 15 minutes. I'm happy to have a cup of tea with you, and then I need to go. Or I'm sorry, you don't look like your picture. And to me, that is a major red flag when it starts out on a note of deception. It's okay to say that. It's okay to honor yourself. If you want to stay because he seems interesting, fine. But I found that if people were deceptive in their pictures, they were going to be deceptive about things in a relationship. They weren't being honest with who they were. I saw this happen in a relationship I was in. The guy, we went on a first date. He told me he was this certain age. I accidentally caught him on our second date. Turns out he was actually a year older. And I thought, oh, I excused him. I made excuses. We really do make excuses for men, and you don't want to do that because men say what they mean and their actions show what they mean, and you really want someone who's honest. And over time, we got in a relationship. He did come clean about his age. He thought if he showed he was a year older, I wouldn't have gone out with him. And he wanted to go out with someone a little bit younger, like 11 years at the time. He was too old for me. Not that a guy who's 11 years older is too old, but he was in the next generation. He was in Vietnam, and I'm a mid-level baby boomer, having been born in 1955. And we were just very different on a lot of things. But the other part of it is he was actually deceptive in another way. I said to him, I don't date smokers. And he said, I'll quit. But he never did quit. The entire time we were together, he always smelled like smoke. And it always put him in this position of having to lie to me and saying, I don't smoke anymore. It was just people I was around. That's like teenager stuff. I should have ended it. I have found that it's never really about the other person. It's about us coming true to ourselves. And even though I like this man, and even though I really do think he was very honorable, I really needed to look at the time, where am I deceiving myself if I'm constantly attracting men that are deceptive about age or their picture or something like that? And I really took a look at it, and it was the fact I didn't totally know what I wanted. I didn't have a clear vision of what was going to make me happy. with a guy. So I would just try relationships out. It's a very tough way to date. It's also just equally as tough as if you think you know and it's based on a type or wealth or looks or something like that, because you miss the good stuff. You miss what can be really fun and good between the two of you. So today I shared a lot of my stories with you, and I hope you learned from those stories, and that now when you go out there and date, you learn from the experiences you're having in your own life with men. Always come back to you. If you're dating guys that are deceptive, what are you deceiving yourself about? If you're dating guys that talk your ear off and don't ask questions, ask yourself, where am I not honoring myself? And really start to understand men. I can't tell you how important this is, this understanding of men. It's going to make such a difference, and it really, really will help you get the relationship you want. A deeper understanding of men and a deeper understanding of you. I'm glad you were with me. I'm looking forward to talking with you the next time a lot more about how you can find love after 50. I'm Lisa Copeland, and you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Talk to you next time.